I literally can't believe we're having this debate.
Wait, don't you mean figuratively? Because I There, and there sound almost identical in spoken language, but they're very distinctive in written form. If you see someone write the wrong one, you're probably going to be compelled to correct them. But should you do the same in social conversations? Tonight on TMF Debates, we'll be looking at the debate surrounding should you correct somebody else's grammar? We've done enough research to take on both personas so that you may listen to the debate without actually having to get into it yourself. As you've likely guessed, anti is totally against being corrected, while pro is all for correcting one's grammar. If at any point you hear anything you agree or disagree with, please join the debate in the comments section down below. Now, as we start this precarious episode, pro, what are your opening statements?
Thank you, moderator. To many people, the way that they speak is just the way they speak. Our mannerisms and slangs don't really ever get challenged because we usually just speak within that little tiny circle. However, when we're discussing English, there is an undeniable proper etiquette to writing and speaking. The words I and me should not be as interchangeable as many people consider them. The words figuratively and literally didn't literally both mean figuratively until everyone misused literally so much that we changed the definition. These and countless other examples are serious dangers to our society. Yes, language can change and evolve over time. However, these evolutions should not come about due to people willfully being ignorant.
Anti, now it's your turn. Thanks, Maud. Slang and metaphorical phrases are common in nearly every language. Some such to the point that we have things like Japanese characters, which are essentially metaphors in their own definition. This is because language is alive. It is alive because living people have to use it in their day-to-day, whether they're talking to friends, family, or social peers. And everything is constantly changing. For example, "What's up, fam?" has replaced "What's up, dog?" which then replaced "What's up?" And so on and so on and so on. And we go back, we could find this phrase over and over in just different verbiage because language is alive. And every language, especially English, should not be restricted by anyone's expectations. I think initially I side with one of these sides more than the other, but I'm not here to choose sides. I'm just here to do the research and take on those personas so that you can hear the pro, hear the anti, and enjoy a TMF debate.
I'm not here to cramp on anyone's style, man. However, improper use should be pointed out and corrected. The aid in coherency should not be understated. Otherwise, you're spending the entire time trying to figure out what they even said. Then the conversation just degrades. Breaks down. And like it or not, but when those of us on the pro hear an error, it's like having a popcorn kernel stuck in your teeth. Not very comfortable.
You know, it does not bother I when people don't use the right...
me, is what I believe you meant to say.
As I was saying, there is no reason for you to feel that way. At least from the anti-perspective, you have to understand the people on the pro are going out of their way to interrupt people rather than listen to them genuinely. How can you possibly even say or even try to defend coherency and communication when you're just listening and focusing on errors that don't even affect you in any shape or form?
Not effect. Effect is a verb. Effect is a noun.
Excuse me?
You use it incorrectly. These are the kind of errors that we're looking for to aid in coherency. And you know what? Everyone's apathetic nature towards grammar, it does affect me, not effect. What does affect me, however, is all of these blatant mistakes and the frequency that they're used, and that has a massive effect on our nation.
Honestly, pro, I want to know, how did you hear that I said effect rather than effect if you weren't listening for that key mistake? Additionally, clearly you understand the difference between the two words and how interchangeable people tend to use them. Thus, if there was understanding, there was no need for correction. You just leave it at that. You understand what they meant. Seriously, pro, if you are insisting that any slight improper grammar usage is anything more than a natural progression of our language, similar to how we linguistically regress in hard sounds, If you insist, you are doing nothing but causing drama.
You know, there is a reason to correct people, especially when they're friends and family. You just want to help them. That's what we do on The Pro. We take on the responsibility of correcting people's grammar, not because we're trying to be rude or offensive, but because we want to help. It is vastly more insulting for you to insist that our intention is to cause drama and mayhem. We're not. We're not trying to do any of that. We're just acknowledging that there is a proper way to speak English. There's dictionaries, there's definitions, and if we're not going to use them, what is the point? Those who are apathetic and intentionally and willfully ignorant, those are the people doing vastly more harm and degrading our dignified society.
Again, Pro. People did learn how to speak. They learned from their families, their teachers, their peers. They know how to speak English. Just because people tend to use sloppy grammar or improper grammar, or they speak in a dialect that thrives off of being improper, that does not mean they don't speak English. If you are so fixated on trying to correct people into speaking how you want them to speak, you're going to miss what they're even saying. Take the time to slow down, listen, ask questions, and be respectful. Respect, that's what this is all about. Respect in listening to other people. And if you are going to correct them, well, I'm sorry to say, Pro, but correcting people is not respectful.
You know, Anti, I gotta hand it to you. You are really good at sounding reasonable with your silver tongue about the argument of abandoning coherency. It is the job, nay, the responsibility of the speaker to make sure that their listener comprehends them. It is incredibly lazy and insulting to push that job onto the listener. Just because you are hearing someone speak, that doesn't mean that you have to comprehend what they are saying. They need to be able to coherently say their message. Those of us on The Pro are being respectful. We are, because we revoke your assertion that it is the listener's job to understand what I am saying. And you know what? If you're afraid of using proper grammar and making a mistake to sound uneducated, well, that's because you are.
All right, stop. Just one episode. I want there not to be such animosity, but it wouldn't be too accurate if I did that. Anti, lead us out. We should never discredit someone simply because they are hard to understand. We should honor their existence, because only in doing so did our ancestors learn to talk to other people of different ethnicities and languages. Those of us on the anti, we may not know all of the academic rules for English, and some of us frankly don't care. However, that does not deny the validity of our opinions. We are people too. When there's one misspelled word or one misused word or whatever, it will always be someone on The Pro who points it out or even cares. Be respectful. Take the time to listen to what someone is saying rather than focusing on how they are saying what they choose to share with the world. Appreciate it as always, Anti. And Pro?
Anti tries to depict those of us on The Pro as rude and going out of our way to be cruel, which is not the case. Have you ever heard of the phrase, no good deed goes unpunished? That's what it's like to be on The Pro. We're just out here trying to help people and educate them. If I read something or hear something and you use the wrong word, but I can figure out what you meant, is that really a victory? I don't think so. Don't be lazy with your grammar. And then you won't have to count such insignificant consolation prizes for coherency. Say what you mean. Say it clearly. And what you say will hold more credibility overall.
Appreciate your remarks as always, Pro. Now, we're at another end of another TMF debate. Who do you agree with, viewer?
It's with whom?
Let's just wrap this episode up. Hit that notification bell to make sure you're back here in 2 weeks when we conclude with the TMF middle ground. And if you're watching this past the initial 2 weeks, just go ahead and click or tap right there to watch it now. A huge, massive shout out to my Patreon members for helping me spread safe debates to you and everyone you disagree with. As always, this has been TMF. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of the time in whatever zone you find yourself. Good